Hello everyone, this is day one of our 10 days AWS Masterclass. So in this session, we will talk about uh, AWS, what AWS is, and services and solutions that are provided by AWS. So let's start by defining what AWS is. So uh, AWS is a popular cloud platform that provides a wide range of services to help businesses grow, uh, to help to manage their infrastructure, and to help them to scale easily without needing physical hardware. So AWS is flexible and can be used by companies of all sizes, like from small startups to large businesses like Netflix. They can utilize AWS. So it offers services like computing, storage services, even database services, fully managed database services, and also advanced tools like uh, artificial intelligence and machine learning tools. So basically, there are a lot of data centers that are managed by AWS. So they are spread across the world. So AWS will ensure that all services are always available. So even one data center has problems, since there are a lot of data centers. So mm, most of the time, or we can say all of the time, the AWS service and solutions are reliable and secure for businesses. For example, if a data center in South Africa fails, there are other data centers in different places across the world. Like there may be a data center in Asia, in Japan, in USA, or in Europe, in many other places. So here is the definition. Amazon Web Service, or AWS, is a comprehensive cloud platform provided by Amazon, offering a vast array of cloud services designed for a wide range of use cases, from storage and computing to machine learning and artificial intelligence. So now let's talk about key AWS services and solutions. So I have listed five uh, key services and solutions that are provided by AWS. So I just pick these five services randomly. They are the most common services provided by AWS. So let's start by talking about the compute service that is provided by AWS. So AWS provides uh, AWS provides compute services to help businesses to run their application, to deploy their website or any other software in the cloud without needing to set up a physical hardware. So uh, key services in the compute service includes Amazon EC2, AWS Lambda, Amazon ECS or Amazon Elastic Container Service, or EKS. There is even a Kubernetes service that is provided by AWS. So Amazon EC2 is basically it's like renting virtual computers that you can use to run applications or websites and many more things. So you can choose the amount of power, the amount of memory, the amount of storage that you need. So you can customize it like any computer. Basically, it's not in your company's premises, but it's somewhere in AWS data center. But you can customize it through the internet remotely. The second one is AWS Lambda. So this service lets you run code without having to manage any server. So your code, basically your code runs automatically in response to events like when someone uploads files, or when someone clicks something or some button on your website, or yeah, your code runs automatically in response to this kind of events. So you don't have to worry about managing any server. That's AWS. It's serverless service. There is also Amazon ECS and Amazon Elastic Container. So the first one is yeah, container service like Docker. The second one is Elastic Kubernetes service. So it's more of, we can say it's more of a containerization service, the Kubernetes one. Yeah, both of them are related, but we will talk about them in the upcoming classes, like in day 7 or in day 6. So let's talk about the second one, which is a storage service. So AWS provides uh, a wide range of storage services that are secure, flexible, and designed to handle all types of data. So let's talk about the more common AWS storage services. Like the first one is Amazon S3 or Amazon Simple Storage Service. So Amazon S3 is a storage service designed for storing any type of data. So you can store documents, even pictures or videos. You can store your backup or archive data, and many more. So it's known for being scalable, meaning you can store as much as much data as you need without worrying about running out of space. Basically, yeah, but it's scalable. You can access it from anywhere. It's also durable, so the data is stored safely with multiple copies across different locations or different data centers. The second one is Amazon EBS or Amazon Elastic Block Store. It's used to provide persistent storage for Amazon EC2 instances or Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud instances, which are virtual machines in the cloud. We have talked about EC2 in the compute services. So basically, what EBS is a persistence storage for that compute service. So it's like an extra hard drive attached to your EC2 instance or to your virtual machine. So, for example, if you have a database running on EC2 instance, you would use EBS to store the database files. So, yeah, that's it. So there are other storage services like Amazon Glacier, I think EFS, Amazon Elastic File System, and so on. So that's enough for storage service. So now let's talk about database services. Uh, AWS offers fully managed fully managed database services that make it easier to store and manage data without worrying about the hardware, the backup, or the performance of your database. So these managed databases that are provided by AWS include both relational or SQL database and NoSQL databases. For example, for the relational or for the SQL databases, there is Amazon RDS or Amazon Relational Database Service. So this Amazon Relational Database Service helps you to set up, operate, and scale relational databases in the cloud. So basically, this Amazon relational database supports database like MySQL, PostgreSQL, even Oracle, SQL Server, and MariaDB. The second one is Amazon DynamoDB. So DynamoDB is a fully managed NoSQL database service designed for applications that need kind of high performance at scale. So particularly, it's useful for applications that require low latency data scales such as real-time mobile apps or gaming backends. So unlike the first one or the relational database, NoSQL database like DynamoDB are are better suited for unstructured data or applications that need to handle large volumes of data with varying structure or with changing structures. So I think that's enough for the database services. There are other database services or services that are related to database like Amazon Redshift. It's kind of a data warehousing service. So now let's talk about the networking service. Uh, in AWS or AWS uh, provides a variety of networking services to help you connect your application or secure your application, or it will help you to ensure the to ensure they perform well. So uh, basically, AWS offers a fully capable, uh, reliable networking services like such as, for example, there is the Amazon VPC or the Amazon Virtual Private Cloud. So what Amazon VPC is, basically it will allow you to create a private network in the cloud. Not only in the cloud, it will allow you to create a private network in AWS. So basically, it means you can control things like which resources you can communicate with each other, which resources can communicate with each other, whether they are public or whether they are publicly accessible or they are private, or you can also control how the traffic flows within your network using the VPC. Sorry. So basically, with VPC or with Amazon Virtual Private Cloud, you can set up isolated environments for your applications and databases. In the networking service, there is also a service called AWS Direct Connect. So AWS Direct Connect provides a dedicated environment, a private network connection between your on-premises data center or your on-premises infrastructure and AWS. So this is useful for businesses that need a stable and high performance connection for large amounts of data, like a hybrid cloud setup or moving large data set to AWS. So basically, this the AWS Direct Connect help us to establish a dedicated network between our on-premises infrastructure and our AWS infrastructure. So it's more secure since it's not it will not establish it will not establish the connection in the public internet. So basically, it's a dedicated uh, a dedicated network connection that will be provided by AWS. So it's more secure and reliable than using the public internet, and it will help to reduce latency. So it's ideal for critical business applications. So yeah, that's enough for AWS Direct Connect. There are other AWS networking services like Elastic Load Balancer. Uh, I think we can classify Amazon Route 53 in the networking services. So yeah, I believe that's enough for the networking services. You can dig more about the networking services that are provided by AWS. The final one is AI and machine learning services. So let's talk about it. So AWS also offers uh, a lot of machine learning and artificial intelligence services that make it easier for organization to build and deploy AI and machine learning models. So there are some examples that we can list. For example, there is a service called Amazon SageMaker. So basically, what this service will help us to do is it will help us to build, train, and deploy machine learning models. So this service will simplify the complex task of the complex tasks involved in machine learning, like pre for example, preparing the data, selecting the most optimized or the most suitable algorithms, and tuning the model and so on. So it's ideal for developers and data scientists who want to quickly create models without worrying about managing infrastructure and the complex process. So one example in the machine learning and AI services. There is also other services like Amazon Poly. So Amazon Poly converts it will convert texts into lifelike speech. So it will enable text to speech applications. For example, for voice assistance or reading content loud. For example, if you have a blog website, for example, yeah, if you have a blog website, you can use Amazon Poly to yeah, to read that blog aloud. There is also Amazon recognition. So Amazon recognition is it will analyze images and the videos to identify objects, people, text, even activities from these images and the videos. There is also Amazon Lex, a service for building conversational interfaces like chatbots or voice assistants. So using Amazon Lex, you can build a chatbot like ChatGPT. So it powers applications with natural language understanding and speech recognition. So uh, there are others. There are other services that are provided by AWS, but these are the most common ones, or I should say, uh, I just pick them randomly. There is analytical services provided by AWS. There is also security concern services provided by AWS. There is also developer tools like, for example, there is a developer tool called AWS Code Pipeline. This is more of a CI/CD pipeline service like Jenkins or GitHub Action. There is also AWS Code Commit. This is more of Git-like service. So it's fully managed source control in the AWS. There is also AWS Code Deploy and so on. So I just pick these five. Let's talk about why. Why should we use AWS? So as you can see, I have listed four reasons to use AWS. The first one is flexibility. The second one is cost effectiveness. The third one is reliability. The fourth one is innovation in the ecosystem. Uh, there are other uh, advantages of using AWS. So for example, yeah, there are a lot other advantages of using AWS. I just listed four of them randomly. Yeah, yeah. So let's talk about the flexibility advantage. So AWS lets you choose exactly what you need in terms of computing power, storage, and other resources. Whether you need a little or a lot, you can adjust your usage easily. So you will never pay for more than you actually need. So it will help you uh, to, it will help you to keep your costs low while maximizing efficiency. So you can run application in many different ways on AWS. Like you can choose any uh, you can choose any type of storage or any type of computing power and so on. So it's kind of flexible, and the service provided by AWS are uh, uh, services provided by AWS are a lot, or there are variety of options that will be provided by AWS. Like you can you may choose to use more of a traditional deployment model. Like you can use virtual machines like EC2, or you can utilize serverless computing, for example AWS Lambda, or you can use containers, whatever you need. So it's flexible. And the second option is cost effectiveness. So in AWS uses a pricing model called pay as you go. So you will only pay for what you actually use. So there is no need for big upfront payment or long-term commitment. So this is great for businesses that need to keep their expenses in check. So especially for a startup or a small company, since they for a lot of cases they will not have a capacity to pay all the payment upfrontly or to commit for long term. So this is good news for startups and small companies. Uh, in AWS, the pricing model do not only contains pay-as-you-go model. There is also say reserved on in the spot model. So AWS also has options that can help you to save even more money. So in the reserved instance, or in the reserved case, it will allow you to commit to using certain resources for a long time, and there is a discounted price. Since you are committing for a long time, there is also spot instances. I think uh, yeah, let's not talk about it. There is also reliability advantage in the reliability case. Sorry again. In the real reliability case, AWS has data centers spread across many locations around the world. So basically, this means your application can be available to users no matter where they are. And if one data center faces an issue, your app can continue running from another data center. So this high availability and the resilience makes it a solid choice for businesses that need to minimize their downtime. There is also innovation in the ecosystem advantage. So AWS is constantly innovating uh, a lot of new services. There is also a wide ecosystem. So AWS is not just a cloud provider. So it has a huge ecosystem of third-party tools like integrations, also an active community. So this ecosystem makes it easier for businesses to integrate other technologies. So uh, the ecosystem or the wide ecosystem is also uh, an advantage, or we can call it, we can state it like when someone asks you why should I use AWS, you can list this for advantages. So you can list even 10 or 15 or 20, but I just listed this here. So flexibility, cost effectiveness, reliability, innovation in the ecosystem. So shortly or generally, AWS offers a powerful, flexible, cost-efficient platform with wide range of services that support businesses of all sizes, from small startups to large businesses. So it makes it easier to scale applications, innovate with new technologies, and reduce costs, all while maintaining high reliability. That's enough for why AWS. Now let's talk about the AWS global infrastructure. Okay, now the final thing that we gonna discuss about is AWS global infrastructure. As you can see, uh, this is some sort of picture that describes or that explains what the AWS global infrastructures looks. So here is launched regions. Sorry, yeah, I can select, I think, since it's a picture. So 32 launched regions. I'm not sure. Still now if it's still now 32, there is 102 availability zones, 35 local zones, and 500 plus point of presence. So I want to talk about what region is in the what availability zone is. So before talking about the regions and the availability zones, let's talk about what AWS global infrastructure is. So as you can guess from its name, AWS global infrastructure is one of AWS key strengths. So it provides high availability, high fault tolerance, and low latency performance for applications worldwide. So this infrastructure uh, is designed to support businesses in running applications that are scalable, reliable, and yeah, that's scalable and will that's scalable and reliable. So the infrastructure is organized into three main components. The first one is region. The second one is availability zone. The third one is edge location. We are not going to talk about edge locations. We will talk about what edge location is in day 7 or in day 8 when we talk about the service called Amazon CloudFront. So let's talk about what region is. Basically, region is uh, an isolated location that ensures data sovereignty and complies with local regulation. So basically, it's an isolated data center. So for example, as you can see here, this dot is a data center or a region. So each region is independent. This means that an issue or an outage in one region won't affect the others. For example, in this region, if there is a power outage, this region in East Africa, I think it's in Kenya, it will not be affected. For example, if the data center here fails, this will keep uh, functioning since they are an isolated or independent environment. So basically, uh, AWS operates multiple geographic regions. Typically, there are 32 worldwide. Each region is separate, physical isolated locations that ensures data sovereignty and complies with local regulations. So as I said earlier, AWS has a lot of or a large number of regions across North America, North America here, Europe, Asia. I think in Africa, yeah, in Africa we only have one in South Africa. So when I say uh, I think this is Kenya previously, I thought this is Africa. This is not Africa. This is I think South America. Yeah, it's South America. In South America and in Africa, AWS only has one region. So basically, uh, region is an isolated data center. So AWS has 32 isolated data center. So in one typical region, there are a lot of data centers. So it will be clear when we talk about availability zones. So uh, availability zone is it's physically isolated data center. So here we have said in AWS region, it's an isolated locations that ensures data sovereignty. When we come to uh, availability zone, it's physically isolated data center. In the region, in one region, there are a lot of data centers. So these data centers are availability zones. So for example, in the US region or for example, in South Africa region, there might be 4 or 5 availability zones or 4 or 5 data centers. So that was the main difference. So within each AWS region, there are multiple availability zones. So an AZ is essentially a physically isolated data center that operates independently with its own power, with its own cooling and network infrastructure. For example, here in South Africa, there is an AWS region. So in this AWS region, let's say I'm not sure, there are 3 availability zones. So these availability zones operates independently. For example, if in the first availability zone the power is down, other availability zones will not be affected by that condition since they are independent. They have their own power, they have their own cooling, they have their own infrastructure. So These edges are interconnected using high-speed, low-latency links, allowing for seamless communication between them, but they are independent. For example, let's take another example here in US. For example, in the US East region or in North Virginia region, US East one, there may be the abbreviation is US East one or US East region. There are several availability zones. So these are US East 1A, US East 1B, US East 1C, and so on. So basically, the importance of AZs are designed to provide fault tolerance. So if one AZ experience an issue such as power outage or other ACs within the same region can continue running services, ensuring your application remains available. So I think it's clear. Uh, if there is any confusion, there are a lot of other YouTube videos in this topic in the AWS global infrastructure. You can check them. Uh, we will also provide a blog in the description. So I think this is enough for this section. In the next episode, we will start doing practical things. So in the next episode, we will talk about the AWS Management Console and the AWS Identity and Access Management or IAM. So this is enough for this session. Thank you.